In today's video, instead of showing you how to use any product in the Adobe Creative Cloud, such as Photoshop or Lightroom, I will instead be showing you how to use a free app that's available to download on both iPhones and Androids called Snapseed. During the month of October, there were classes held in the St. John Library System called Snap Smarter Intro to Photo Editing, and in those classes, we taught patrons how to use Snapseed, but now I'm making a video tutorial so that those who are unable to attend the classes can learn from the comfort of their own home. So, to start it off, what is Snapseed? Snapseed is an app that's developed by Google. It's free. And it allows you to transform photos with editing functions that are a little more advanced compared to what's available on your normal camera app. The app makes it very easy to correct lighting, remove unwanted objects, and apply filters. And there's also some generative AI elements to some of the functions and capabilities within the app that I'll show you. So let's start off by importing a photo and exploring the editing tools. You do have to allow permission, at least on the iPhone. As you can see, I'm using an iPhone, but you do have to allow permission for the app to access your camera roll. Once you import a photo, there is a row of filters at the bottom. These are just very easy to access, easy to use filters that you can choose from. But what we're going to be focusing on in this video is actually the tools menu at the bottom of the screen in the middle. Once you select tools at the bottom of the screen, you can start by clicking on Tune Image, which is the first option in the menu. Tuning an image allows you to swipe vertically to see the editing options. You can edit the brightness, the contrast, the saturation, the ambiance, the highlights, the shadows, and the warmth. And once you select one of those options, I chose brightness, you will swipe horizontally to make the changes on the image. And you can see the slider at the top showing you what number within the brightness or the contrast or the saturation, etc. that you're editing. You can see where it's at. Brightness, as you can see, lightens or darkens the entire image. Contrast makes the light areas of a photo lighter and the dark parts darker. And decreasing contrast can make the image look washed out, and more contrast can make it look more bold. Saturation determines how strong the colors are in a photo, and boosting the color too much will look unnatural. If you want the image to remain looking natural, but you just want to clean it up a little bit, a tip is to not push any setting slider too far in one direction. Ambiance adjusts how the light is balanced, so it's kind of similar to contrast in that way. The darker you make it, the flatter the image will be, and then the brighter, the bolder. Highlights lets you lighten or darken only the brightest parts of an image, and darkening highlights can help you pull out more detail from a bright sky. So there's darker whites and then there's brighter whites. Shadows lets you lighten or darken only the dark parts of an image, so it's kind of the opposite of highlights. Lightening shadows can pull out more detail from the underexposed areas and make the whole picture look brighter. So there's black shadows, and then you can remove the shadows entirely. Warmth lets you add a warm or orange tint to an image, and blue. Warmth lets you add a warm or orange or blue or cool overlay to the entire image. So a blue tint will be a wintry kind of feel, and then an orange tint will be a summery kind of feel. There is also a magic wand button at the bottom of the screen, and you can click that and it'll apply automatic adjustments. And if you don't like those, you can always tune it yourself, but it does offer that option if you're not sure what to do here. Now we're going to hit the X in the left-hand corner to exit the screen and go back to the Tools menu. So now we're going to choose Details. Details include structure and sharpening, and these options can enhance a slightly blurry image. Structure increases the detail in a photo, and it brings out textures without affecting the edges of objects. And sharpness determines the level of detail across the entire image. Going back to the menu, we're going to go click on curves, which is another option in the tools. Curves will balance highlights, shadows, and midtones to make the image pop, and a grid with a diagonal line will come up on the screen for you to do that. That's where the curve is. The right or top of the graph represents the highlights, and the left or bottom represents the shadows, and everything else is the midtones. When editing a photo using curves, you can tap on the diagonal line to add a point in the middle. To brighten the image, grab the point and drag it up, and to drag the point down, and then you drag the point down to darken the image. You can add multiple points to the image and drag them in different directions to experiment with adjusting the contrast. And you can add a point on the left side to only adjust the shadows, add a point to the right side to only adjust the highlights, and then this creates an S shape. Working with the curves menu can be a little complicated, so there are video tutorials available for free online if you just look it up. If you don't really understand what you're doing with it, and you can also just play around with it and figure out how it works. The next tool is the white balance menu. White balance is a way to adjust the color temperature of an image, and it makes the whites in the image appear clean and not tinted a different color. So there are two sliders under this menu. There's the temperature and the tint. Temperature balances colors between cool blues and warm yellows, and tint balances colors between cool green tones and warm magenta tones. There's also a white balance color picker, and that is the little color picker icon from on the second from the right on the bottom of the screen, and you can find a neutral gray and automatically color balance your image. There's the crop menu under the tools. The crop menu is pretty self-explanatory. You can crop the image to what you want it to be. This can be helpful if you plan to print the image as a 4x6, 5x7, 8x10, etc. And so there are options for you to make your crop a fixed shape, but the free option lets you drag the edges of your crop box however you would like if there's anything you want to crop out of the image. There's also a rotate menu where you can tap on the image and rotate it 90 degrees clockwise. You can swipe horizontally across your screen to rotate the image manually wherever you'd like it. And you can tap the mirror icon on the second from the left at the bottom to flip the image entirely. There's also a perspective menu. Certain lenses on different cameras distort images, especially if taken at a wide angle, so you can use this tool to remove the distortion and make the image true to life. You'll use your fingers to pinch and zoom and drag the image, and once you're done adjusting, you'll click the fill icon to automatically fill any blank edges. The smart option uses AI to match the background so you won't have to crop it, and if you fill in the blank space with white or black, you will need to crop the picture after. Similarly to the perspective menu, there's also the expand menu. The expand menu uses generative AI as well, where you can drag the edges of an image out on all sides or just on one side, any amount of sides that you'd like, and the fill option will add black or white to the empty space, and the smart option will add generative AI to expand the background. It may not look natural depending on what your image is. As you can see on my image, it kind of messes up. It looks good in some places, but it kind of messes up. And the others, like the cat's tail, gets a little messed up. So I wouldn't personally use generative AI for this image. Under tools, there's also the selective menu. Selective editing is a powerful tool that will allow you to edit specific parts of the image rather than changing the image as a whole. So it uses masks to do this. Tap the part of the image that you want to edit or set a control point and make a pinching motion to view or change the size of the area that will be affected, and that will be highlighted in red. And then to make changes to that point, you'll tap on the point that you want to edit, and then while you're tapping it, you'll hold and swipe vertically to access the tuning menu, and then you'll swipe horizontally, as we did before, to adjust brightness, contrast, saturation, warmth, etc. of that specific area. And only the area that was highlighted in red will be affected by this. Another available tool is the brush menu. This is another way to make selective edits. You can change the size of your brush by pinching to zoom in or out, and there are 4 brush editing options: dodge/burn, and dodge lightens and burn darkens the areas of the image that you brush over. There's exposure, which controls the brightness of the area you brush over. Temperature makes your selection warmer or cooler, and then saturation makes the colors more or less intense. A tip is to tap the eye icon to view your brush selection highlighted in red, just like with the selection. Other recommended apps for photo editing, similar to Snapseed but that do require subscriptions, are Adobe Lightroom Mobile. What you get for free is basic editing tools like adjusting exposure, contrast, saturation, etc., presets and filters, and social media sharing options. But with the paid version, you can edit raw photos from a camera. You get the full editing suite with masking and selective adjustments, cloud storage, and syncing. And the monthly subscription costs for the mobile app range from $1.99 to $9.99, depending on the plan that you get. There's also Polar mobile app. What you get for free with Polar is 1 ad-free export each day, unlimited access to tools for basic editing, ability to save up to 3 filters, and in the paid version, it's ad-free, unlimited premium filters, advanced editing tools including Selective tools, and then Magic Retouch, and the monthly subscription starts at $7.99. You can find more mobile photography editing courses for free on LinkedIn Learning and Udemy, which is available for free with a St. John the Baptist Parish Library card. Visit www.stjohnlib.com/resources to get started. All of the information I've shared with you in this video came straight from the PowerPoint that we showed in our photography class at the St. John the Baptist Parish Libraries. Hopefully we will have more photography classes coming up in the future. So make sure to look out for that in our monthly calendar, which you can also access on www.stjohnlib.com. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next month.